So the regional elections were held today in France, as you may or may not know, and well, there was a landslide victory of the Front National, or the National Front. Now, the National Front, and I'm reading you the definition, is a socially conservative and nationalist right-wing French political party. Its major policies include economic protectionism, a zero-tolerance approach to law and order issues, and anti-immigration. A Eurosceptic party, the FN has opposed the European Union since its creation in 1993. Now, look, these are regional elections, and they're not important as such, but this is not news. I mean, for a year maybe now, we have seen landslide victories across Europe of far-right parties, and it's to do with a lot of factors. It's been happening since the crisis, because every time you do have an economic crisis, the people will move towards the edges. And since in Europe we have well, across the Western world we have a bad experience with communism, we move to what effectively is the foreplay to fascism. And we move to parties such as Jobbik and Law and Order and all these other parties across Europe that are anti-immigration, that are very conservative, and that are very economically protectionist. Now, as for the economic protectionism part, I actually agree with them. And to be fair, I think that outsourcing is not something you want in your country, and look, I can understand it, I can understand protectionism, but a Eurosceptic party, well, this has been happening once again. Most people in Europe dislike the European Union, despite the fact that most people in Europe have profited from the European Union. So, yeah, I suppose the media doesn't cover it very well. I mean, a lot of the time, the mainstream media here in Europe it's neutral on the EU. And the problem with it being neutral is that effectively there is no medium that would communicate a pro-EU stance, and there is a lot of media that are against it. Not mainstream media, but media. Media that support parties such as this. And what will happen when one side is telling you, make up your own mind, and the other side is telling you they're bad? Well, you may not think they're as bad, but you will certainly get a bad opinion, and I don't know, I mean, far right-wing parties, I would have thought that when education is accessible, and when people are becoming educated, and look, we may not be at an economic spike as such, but historically, I mean, we're doing better than we ever did, aren't we? So, I don't know, it's just disheartening to see anti-immigration people with a zero-tolerance approach to law and order issues. I mean, even in some countries across Europe now you have parties that are saying we should bring the death penalty back. I don't know, it's just... Look, it seems like we're going in the wrong direction, and I really think this continent should rethink the governments, rethink the politicians from the basics.